H-Town, how's it going? Will Scott here with Texans Today, talking about some free agency rumors on today's show. And if you guys want to continue to get more videos involving the Houston Texans here at Chat Sports, then go and subscribe to the channel. I grew up in the H, man. I'm all about the H, and I know how legit Texans fans are, and I'm trying to show my bosses that. So help me out. Go and subscribe to the channel right now. We're talking about, and some of y'all might not be crazy about this, but we're talking about the possibility of Jimmy Garoppolo being signed by the Houston Texans. And there was this big report from CBS Sports saying that the Texans are going to push to bring Jimmy Garoppolo to Houston. Here's what Jonathan Jones, a NFL insider from CBS Sports, said. Sources tell CBS Sports that there's a push within the building to sign quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and play him in 2023 while drafting a quarterback at some point in the first round with the plan to sit him for the year and grow. The Texans, hired Bobby Slowick from the Niners to be their offensive coordinator. Who better to execute that offense quickly and efficiently than a healthy Garoppolo who knows the head coach and offensive coordinator from his time in the Bay Area and the general manager from his time in New England. And I'm not surprised that Jimmy G's being linked here to Houston because of the DeMeco Ryans connection, because of the Nick Caserio connection. But this would be terrible for the Houston Texans. You have an opportunity right now with the number 2 overall pick to draft your franchise quarterback for the foreseeable future. Kind of hit the restart button, right? You have a lot of young talent on this team. That young talent needs to include a quarterback, in my opinion, not a veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo, who is a middle-of-the-road, mediocre quarterback. And the report also said the Texans' thinking here is they could sign Jimmy G and then draft a quarterback to develop under him. And they said that quarterback would be taken in the first round, which makes me think that the Texans might be interested in Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. Maybe taking them instead of C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, because if you draft C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, those guys aren't projects. Those guys are going to start right away, especially with a team like the Texans. But Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, those guys might need some time developing. So apparently the Texans are thinking about maybe drafting a quarterback, perhaps Levis or Richardson, and then having them sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year before taking over as the franchise QB. Now, do you want to sign Jimmy Garoppolo? Bring him to the Texans. Type S for sign or type P for pass down in the comments section. What do you think the Texans should do here? And Jimmy G is coming off a pretty good season. Was putting up really good numbers with the Niners before his season-ending injury, a 67% completion percentage, over 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for Jimmy G with the Niners. So I understand, why there might be some interest there from DeMeco, from Nick, the connections that Garoppolo has to this team. But I don't think the Texans should overthink this. They might be thinking, well, we want to start winning now. And we know what Jimmy G is as a quarterback. We know he can maybe go out and win us some games. So let's sign him, and let's take, maybe a Will Anderson at number 2 in the draft. But I do not think the Texans should overthink this. You have the number 2 overall pick, right? So take whatever quarterback out of Young or Stroud is not taken at number 1 overall. And the dream scenario, and perhaps even a very possible scenario, is the Colts or somebody else trades up, takes Richardson at 1, and you get, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this draft class, Bryce Young, at number 2. But I don't think you can go wrong with Young or Stroud. Take whichever guy's on the board there at number 2, have them be your franchise quarterback for years to come. But signing Jimmy Garoppolo is not what this football team needs to do this offseason. And we're going to have you covered throughout this offseason. Plenty of Texans free agency and draft content. So subscribe to the channel right now. YouTube.com/TexansTV.